Hey guys, it is Wingy here and welcome to a brand new video on my channel and my next in my ranking Doctor Who series. But before we get into this, as you are probably aware at this point and sick of me saying, but I'm aiming for 10k by the end of the year, so if you haven't subscribed and you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Anyway, today I thought we would talk about the Daleks. Now, I've done the Cybermen before and spoken about some of my favourite designs of them. And in this one, as you can see, we've got a tier list right here, so I'm going to talk about where I would rank all these different Dalek designs. Now obviously some are going to be better than others, and as always this is just my personal opinion, so if you happen to disagree, doesn't matter. I mean, feel free to do your own tier list and do a video on it and send it to me as well, and I'll check them all out. So let's get into it. So as you can see, we've got all these different categories here: beautiful, great, good, okay, meh, and fugly, which means the worst of the worst, I would assume. And it seems here that the first one is the OG Dalek. Now, this is an icon, isn't it? This is just an icon of British television, and for that it's got to go straight into beautiful, hasn't it? I mean, it is the original design. Now, thing is, I do prefer other Dalek designs to this one, but you can't knock the classic, can you? Moving on then, we have the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks. Now, with this one, I'm just going to put it in good. Now, the colour scheme I really like. The actual shape of this Dalek, I quite like it. It's very reminiscent to the Peter Cushing movie Daleks, which, as you can see, we're going to get to. I think the one main issue that I have with this is the eye stalk is very clearly a torch, which, I mean, people are going to say, yeah, but it's got a plunger and an egg whisk on it, which I get, but I don't know, it still knocks it down a few for me, but it's still a great design. Plus, we didn't see it enough. We didn't really see that much of it. It's only in one part of Planet, if that's right, something like that. But yeah, it's still a good design though. And next we move on to Death to the Daleks. Now, this is a story that I think it's getting more and more love lately, but I mean, it's still not a great story. I enjoy it for what it is. However, this design is going straight into beautiful. For me, this is one of my favourite, if not my favourite, Dalek design. Now, I think the reason for this is, as you can see, the silver is a very nice colour, but it's in the body here with the black. Now, if the body itself was silver with black plates on it, then I don't think I'd like it as much, but that sort of black body in the middle really makes it pop. Plus, I really like, I think, I can't really see properly, but I think this is the one with the orange headlamps or the orange lights on the top, and again, it just makes that Dalek pop even more. So yeah, this is one of my favourite designs. This one, I think, is Destiny of the Daleks. This is okay. It's kind of a sort of palish grey. It's not really metallic. It's quite a matte finish. They're just, you know, they're okay. There's nothing too much to say about them, and plus, Destiny is arguably one of the worst classic Dalek stories there is. So moving on then, we have Revelation of the Daleks, these black Daleks. These are good. You know, it's a simple classic Dalek design that's all black. It's good. I don't really have too much to say about it. It's what it is. Moving on, we have the Supreme Dalek from Resurrection of the Daleks, and again, this is good. This is a good design. I don't think it's the best Dalek design, but I really quite like that it's got the white on it. Again, it contrasts with the black, so it really makes it pop a little bit. We don't really see too much of this Dalek, particularly in the light. It's usually hidden behind, I think it's red in the story. It's only really this moment where you actually see that, oh, it's got white hemispheres on it. But yeah, it's a really cool design. Simple, yet effective. Moving back to Revelation of the Daleks, it would seem, and it's these... Is it the Imperial Daleks? I think it's the Imperial Daleks. Either way, these are going in there. Now, the white and gold, I mean, the proper ones from Remembrance are here, so we're not too far away from them. But these, the colour scheme of the white and gold is good, but I don't like the contrast with the black. I think it makes these Daleks look a bit cheap, and for that reason, they're just meh. Like, I actually think these are pretty hideous Daleks. The colour scheme does not complement each other with the black eye stalk and the black plunger. It's just a bit tacky, I think. But moving into Remembrance of the Daleks, it would seem, we have the Supreme Dalek, which is just okay. And the reason why I'm going to say that is I don't particularly like the silver, and this is going to be a common theme, and I know that I've already put like 2 silver Daleks in beautiful, but the silver, I just don't like it compared to this Dalek from Resurrection of the Daleks. It's a fine design. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just okay. I don't love it. But as we are sticking with Remembrance, we've got these Daleks. Now, these are beautiful. These are absolutely beautiful. These, again, are, along with Death to the Daleks, probably my favourite designs, because they've got the all white with the gold. I think that makes them a hell of a lot better. compared to these, like the Revelation ones, these are just, as well, tiers above, as you can see, multiple tiers above. These are one of the best Dalek designs, in my opinion, like without question. Now, the Supreme, no, not the Supreme, the Special Weapons Dalek from Remembrance, this is great. Again, the colour scheme is fantastic, but I also love that it's a different type of Dalek. It's a really unique design, and it's a Dalek that I wish we would see more of. I'd love to see a modern version of it. I know that it has appeared in the modern series, and I think it even spoke in one of them, but it didn't really do anything. But Remembrance of the Daleks is a fantastic story, as I'm sure you're all aware and probably agree, but that is such a brilliant piece of Dalek design, and I really, really like it. But speaking of great, we also have the Revive series Daleks, the Bronze Daleks. Now these are great as well. To bring the Daleks back into the modern era was always going to be difficult, because you could overdo it and you could over design them, which we'll get to in a bit. But these I think are fantastic, like they did them justice. I will talk more about colour schemes a little bit later on, but initially the bronze and gold I think works really, really nicely, and they are very pretty Daleks, I have to say. Then we've got the Dalek Invasion of Earth Daleks, which I'm going to put in meh, if I'm honest. And I think the reason being is because I really don't like the disc at the back. I know that there's plot reasons for it, and I understand that, but I just don't like it. I think they look a bit goofy, and they look sort of, particularly with the platform at the bottom, they look a bit out of proportion, and they don't quite look right. Then we go to the assistant to the Emperor Daleks, which are essentially just the bronze Daleks with a black head. That's okay. You know, they're okay. We don't really see them enough. They don't really do anything. I'm pretty sure that image is like zoomed in from a wide shot, because you never really see them close up, and I'm assuming that they were all CG as well, so yeah, they're fine. You know, they're okay. Obviously we're sticking with new series Daleks, and we've got Dalek Sec. This is great. This is absolutely great, and sort of going into it a little bit when I was saying about the colour schemes of these bronze Daleks, I wish we did see more variations of them. Now I know that we got a couple, but I really wish that the black Daleks, like this design, would have lasted longer. Like, I wish it wasn't just Dalek Sec or that one random background Dalek in Magician's Apprentice. Like, this is such a simple, subtle, well, not really subtle, but it's a simple change, but it's a very effective change. And I really wish we got to see more variations on these Daleks, but unfortunately it was never to be. Now we go to Dalek Sec once again, the hybrid. Pug Fugly, do I need to explain this? I mean, the story is crap, the idea is crap, the execution's crap. It's just, I think it's an awful design. Like, you can kind of understand where they were going with it, but for me it just doesn't quite work. Then we have the Ironside Daleks from Victory of the Daleks, and they are good. I do love the colour scheme, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first and only green Daleks that we've seen on screen. Yeah, that is, I'm sure that's right. If I'm wrong, please feel free to let me know. I'm sure, like, in expanded media there's been green Daleks, but as far as I'm aware, yeah. And it's a really nice green as well. It's like the military green, which I think really suits them quite nicely. The only reason why I put it in good is because I don't like the sort of bags on the, like, wrapped around it. In story it makes sense because, you know, they're in the Second World War, but I don't quite like it. I don't mind the little Union Jack sort of on the Dalek face as well underneath the eye stalk. That's pretty cool, but still, yeah, it's a good design. It's a welcome design. It's in a crap story, but it's still a nice one. Then we move into the Paradigm Daleks. So straight away I'm going to explain away all of these. These are all going into meh. Now, the one thing I will say is the one at the end here, this red one, I do prefer that slightly because it's a darker, more metallic finish, and I think it suits these Daleks better. These other ones that were in Victory are way too bright and colourful, and they end up looking like fat jelly babies. Like, they just don't look threatening or intimidating. Do I appreciate the fact that they tried to do a redesign? Absolutely. Did it work? No. And you could tell that it didn't work because they just were slowly phased out of the show. They were never really seen again beyond Series 7, which, on the one hand, it's a shame because I'm sure, like, the stuff with, you know, the Eternal and the Strategist, there was going to be stories behind them, but we just never got it. So, is what it is. But the design itself, it's just a bit too far removed from a Dalek, in my opinion. Like, yes, it still has, you know, the gun and the sucker and the eye stalk and the hemispheres and all that sort of stuff, but they're just a bit too big and they don't quite work for me. I know a lot of people like them, fair play to you. I just don't. Aha, so these next two, funnily enough, if you didn't know, are actually the same Dalek. Now, this first one, I'm actually going to put in Pug Fugly. Now, I will explain the reasoning for this. So, this Dalek was meant to look like this one, this all black one. However, they didn't finish painting it in time. So, they just sort of did this half and half sort of look to it, which I don't think it works. Like, I get that wasn't the intention originally and they were going to, you know, have a different Dalek, but I just think it looks a bit stupid, and it does look like a Dalek that they haven't finished painting, plain and simply. So I am going to have to put it there, and to be fair, it only appears in like 2 episodes, if that. You know, it's not the most offensive Dalek, but I do think it looks a bit hideous, if I'm totally honest. This one, on the other hand, this is okay. Now, I know, again, what I said about these ones with the disc at the back and the raised base, but in all black, I think it looks a bit better than the standard silver, so I'm going to put it there. Then we have these ones from Remembrance of the Daleks. Are they the Renegades or are they the Imperials? I can never remember. I want to say that they're the Renegades. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But these ones, these are going in meh. And the reason why they're going in meh is not from a design standpoint as such, but it's the fact that in the story, they wobble. And they don't just wobble a bit. They wobble a lot, and it's quite distracting, and they look a bit stupid, if I'm totally honest. The colour scheme and everything else is totally fine, but it's just the way that they move I really am not a fan of. So this Dalek, I don't know if it's this, I'm assuming it's this one without the base, which I'm going to put here, and the reason I'm going to put it there is because it doesn't look like it's finished. Now, I can't actually remember what story that's from, and I can't remember if there was an in-story reason as to why it looks like that, but it just doesn't look like it's finished. Now, if that's a plot point, fair enough, but still, I just don't like it. Anyway, so this one, I believe this is from the Chase, but obviously this was sort of the standard design throughout the rest of the 60s. Now, this is great. This is a great design. It reminds me of stuff like Power of the Daleks. So, well, it's pretty much just the majority of the 60s Dalek stories from the Chase onwards, I think. And it's more in line with Daleks now, with the panels around the side in the middle. It's just a great design. And then we have this one, which I believe is Dalek Master Plan, but I could be wrong on that. This one is okay. I don't particularly like the silver in the middle. Similar to what I was saying with this Dalek, I think with the black and the silver, there's a way to do it. The Death to the Daleks one is probably the way to do it. But yeah, I'm just not a fan on that. And then the Evil of the Daleks ones, they're going to go in okay as well. Similar to the modern ones, they are essentially just a standard Dalek with a black top. That's it. Like, nothing that special. I get they serve a purpose, but it is what it is. So now we have the Genesis Daleks. Now, these are great. Like the gunmetal grey, it fits in perfectly with the tone of the story. I mean, it's not like the most groundbreaking Dalek design or anything, but in my mind, it's a very iconic one. Typically, when people think of classic series Daleks, that's the one that springs to mind for the majority of people. Weirdly, they only appear for like 15 minutes in total throughout the entirety of Genesis, which is mental to think, considering it's a 6-part story. So they don't even take up 1 part's worth of screen time. But they are, you know, it's an iconic story, iconic design. We get to see the origins of the Daleks and everything like that, and they're just fantastic. I absolutely love them. Okay, so then we get this dude from Day of the Daleks and also Planet of the Daleks as well. Is it Planet? No, is it Frontier in Space? It's some Pertwee stories anyway. This one is good. Yeah, it's good. I like the fact that, considering this was the first time we would have seen Daleks in colour, I quite like that they went for the contrast of, you know, the 2 grunt soldiers, which is similar to the Genesis design, and then they had like a Supreme Dalek who was different. The only reason why this isn't higher is probably because I don't massively love the gold that they used for this Dalek. It's a bit sickly, if that makes sense. But it's still a great design, and it's still fantastic to see, you know, a gold Dalek in the classic series, because we tend to associate gold Daleks with the modern era. Oh, his voice is horrible as well in Day of the Daleks, but that's a totally different video. Now we're moving on to some of the movie Daleks, it would seem. So we'll start off with the drone from Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is great. I would love to see more blue Daleks, like maybe not as bright as this, but more sort of like a darker metallic colour. Maybe not quite this guy's level either, but still, this is a nice design. I quite like the silver, the contrast with the blue, and obviously the red lights as well. it's just a really nice design. So then we go on to the red Dalek from Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is beautiful, as is the black Dalek as well. I think it's the gold on these that really make them pop. Yes, they do look Hollywood. They do look a bit more mainstream, if that's the way to do it. I don't know. They look like, let's just put a load of colour on them because they're on the big screen, you know, in colour for the first time. So yeah, they are a bit garish, but at the same time they are very, very pretty. And I love a red Dalek as well, I've got to say. And I actually quite like with the black one how it mixes the silver and the gold on the hemispheres. I think that really makes it stand out and a bit more unique. Okay, so these are from Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD. This one is good, the standard drone. Now I am aware that this colour scheme was pretty much all the 60s Daleks. However, this design, I just don't prefer it compared to the one from the first movie. Plain and simply, that's all I have to say about that. In terms of this one, actually all three of these can go in okay. And the reason is, again, I just don't prefer them to the ones that I've put above them. As simple as that. Again, I think the gold on this one looks a little bit sickly. This black Dalek isn't as nice as the first movie one, and the red Dalek isn't as nice as the original one. I think the gold makes them stand out a bit more compared to the silver, which I think looks a bit cheap. I don't know if that's the right word, but in comparison, these just don't look as nice as these. And that's just my honest opinion. Then we move on to the Jodie Whittaker era Daleks, which is the Reconnaissance Dalek, I believe, and then they came back in the most recent special. They're shit. If I had my way, in terms of like an actual Dalek design, I mean, the Dalek Sec Hybrid is the worst design, but in terms of like an actual Dalek shape, they are the worst, in my opinion. I appreciate the fact that they were remote control and they didn't need an operator, because that's a bit different, but at the same time, they just don't look very good. They look shit, and you can kind of explain it away in the first one because it's this Dalek who's trying to, you know, rebuild itself. But after that, you know, why have they come back? The design is just dreadful. Like, it looks all over the place. It looks cheap as well, if I'm being totally honest. It doesn't look like a villain or a monster. It looks like a prop. And if it looks like a prop, when, I mean, it technically is, I'm aware of that, but when it looks like a prop that someone's talking to, it just doesn't look great. Then we have the Supreme Dalek, which they've used the picture from Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, which is weird because I really associate this Dalek with the series 4 finale. But this is a great design as well. Like I was saying before, I love red Daleks, and I love that this one is a bit different. Similar to the Special Weapons Dalek, this one has got, you know, the extra light on its head. It's got the gold bars that stick out. I really like the red and the gold contrast, which again is probably why this one is in beautiful. This one would be up another tier, but I think it needed to appear a bit more. And I say that knowing full well that these only appeared in like one story / one film. But it is what it is. I don't think it's the best design, and I genuinely do prefer the ones above it. So we'll go with that. And then we are left with these ones, which I'm a bit confused because a lot of these are pretty similar, if not identical, to ones that have already been on here. So these are the Bronze Daleks, aren't they? So, well, these are just going in. I mean, if there's any difference between these and these, I don't know. Maybe they're a bit darker, but I imagine they're meant to be the same. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they're just as good as them. And then with these, I mean, this one is great as well. It's a really nice design. Nice little revamp. I quite like the blue, actually. I don't know if these ones were blue in the middle. I could be wrong. I'd need to see colour photos of the Daleks in the 60s at the time, but I don't know. But with this one, this can go in here because it's similar to the Evil and the other Emperor Daleks from the Eccleston stories. So yeah, there we go. That is my list. Now, it's quite funny because I sort of before did a test run of like where I would put things, and it looks totally different to how I've actually ended up putting it for the video version. So yeah, in the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my choices? Do you not? What are yours? Like I said, if you want to make your own tier list, then have a look at this and do your own and make a video and send it my way, and I'll happily watch them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always, so if you'd follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.